Welcome back to the top six. Brilliant panel for you tonight. Lots of transfer news, pre-season reviews, and of course, looking ahead now to the start of the Premier League campaign to go through with each and every single one of you. We're talking Memphis Depay. Could it be back to Man United? A reported bid has been made. We're talking Frankie de Jong, and his deal is now seemingly off, according to the Spanish media, after Barca received another £200-300 million through selling off their assets. We're going to talk Arsenal and their advancing moves towards Paqueta. Liverpool are working on a midfield player, according to reports from Portugal, plus much, much more. Brilliant panel tonight. Tom Little back again by popular demand. Won't get his hair out because he said he's absolutely mangled it. But what do you expect from a Scouser? Neeks is here, ready to rep Manchester United today after a brilliant... We're winning pre-season, I think. We're winning pre-season, so we're going to touch on that. George is here, back in Tottenham, looking fresh, ready to go. And listen, the next guest, this guy has a better talent ID than Thomas Tuchel. Maybe he's better at coaching penalties as well. It's man like Roy the Boy, Chelsea fan, and making his debut on the football terrace and on the top six tonight. Man like Kounde Lee versus Lee. Welcome to the terrace, and thanks for coming on and making your debut, my friend.
I appreciate it, man.
Good. You better be back in Arsenal. I'm always intrigued with new Arsenal fans. I think what they're going to be like. They're going to be like Jess. They're going to be like Kesh, Adam. Or they're going to be like Gal. Like, I'm always like wondering, like, where in the spectrum of Arsenal fans you're going to see.
We're all over the shop, man. We're all over the shop right now. But listen, you're going to find out. Like it. And viewers, remember, if we hit 1,000 likes, we will give out more free memberships live on the show. How are we all? Are we all good? Yeah.
It's all good, man. Happy and healthy, man.
Finally, the heat wave's gone over us, so that feels.
Yeah. It looks like it's thing of the past now.
Well, I don't know what the fuss is about.
Chelsea are still sweating.
Yeah, listen, I was going to say, I'm feeling good, man. Arsenal won last night. Well, I'd say this morning I was actually with the IFTV watch along, so 3-1 win. Good times, man. Good times, bro.
Yeah, I mean, it's doing well. Chelsea weren't happy this morning. Everton. Did you see the replies to Everton's starting lineup?
Yeah.
Where people were like,
yeah.
I think we can do Chelsea opening game of the season. I love this 4-0. Like, and Dele Alli's miss. Oh my goodness.
It's the Chelsea connection, man. That Chelsea, anything to do with Chelsea right now, it's looking like it's Crumble FC, man. But we're going to get into that, man. We're going to get into that.
Blah, blah, blah.
We're going to move on to looking at preseason a little bit later. I wanted to start off with some transfer news first of all, and news that's come out of Spain, I would say, in the last day or so, is that Manchester United's deal for Frankie de Jong is off, based on the fact they're now stating, and I'll quote what's been said here by Gerard Romero, that Barcelona will not be obligated to sell Man United target Frankie de Jong should they activate the third lever of money. So another £200-300 million coming in. What are you saying, Neeks? Is this mind games from Barca to try and get us to pay the deferred wages? Or is this it? Is it time now Man United give up on Frankie de Jong? They've waited long enough and move on to a new and different target.
I've been pretty consistent in this, in the sense that Ten Hag knows de Jong personally. Like, he knows him. He has his number. He probably's got his wife's number. Probably got his mother's number. Like, he knows him personally. So if Ten Hag is convinced, or he has belief, may not 100%, but has a belief that de Jong will still join, whatever the issue is why he's not joining now, then I don't have an issue with still pursuing it. And I say pursuing it, there's not much more we can do right now. We've made a bid, and Barca have accepted the offer. There's nothing more we can do right now, unless, I don't know, there's no conversation as far as I'm aware about him wanting certain wages that we're not offering. There's no discussion about that. So the offer's on the table. We've spoken to him. He knows what we're going to offer him if he decides to come. Cool. Look at other targets. It don't mean that you dash away de Jong and you're not going to sign him, but we have to be ready to act. If on the 30th of August we get breaking news, de Jong texts Ten Hag and says, I'm not coming, leave me alone, delete my number. We have to be like, the deal has to be ready to sign a replacement, whether that be Ruben Neves. I don't want Tielemans, but that's a name that's been touted out there, whatever it might be. So we need to get working on other deals. But I'm not saying now go do those deals, because if De Jong is then available on the 20th of August and we've got the second choice and the third choice, we're going to look like idiots. But we're also going to look like idiots if we don't get a replacement for De Jong. We don't get another option. So for me, work on other deals, like I said, at least over a week ago. But Ten Hag knows more than I do, more than you do, more than the reporters do, whether or not De Jong is willing to join or willing to leave Barcelona. So I think leave the door open, but get to work on other deals.
But don't you feel a bit embarrassed though, like how you're chasing Man United right now? Man United remind me of that team, but that guy, sorry, that's got all the designer, all the money, but still can't get no girls. And it's a bit weird, like how you lot are still chasing after this guy. And look, I kind of agree with you. I'll be honest. And we can banter all the time, but I agree with you. I do think that there's not a concrete idea that he doesn't want to come, but I feel like the dragging along is just, you're wasting time. Like, you're meant to be backing your manager, so you should have just paid the money, whatever it is. In my opinion, you kind of like go along as this idea, you're the biggest club in the world, so put the money down. If you got to pay the 16-17 million pounds for his wages, sometimes people do crazy things to get what you need in life, you know. So for me, I feel like you lot are trying to do something.
But you see me, if we're gonna use the analogy of a guy going after a girl, I'm saying to the guy, listen, jump on Tinder, jump on Hinge, go out, keep swiping, meet other girls. But if the one you want, like, there's a possibility, don't tell her to leave you alone, because if she's available, then that's the one you want. Now I'm not saying Rihanna. I'm not saying he's top class, but he's up there.
What you're doing right now is up there.
Yeah, but what you guys are doing right now, is you're chasing after that ex, or chasing after that girl that still, she hasn't got over her ex. She still wants to be with him. She's still sleeping in his bed at night. And you're calling her. You're still
paying for all of the food. You're paying for her Nobu, all her Louis Vuittons, all of that stuff. You ain't getting nothing. So for me, I just feel like what you need to do is you have a clear plan what you're doing, and it looks like you have got a bit of a plan, like what you're doing. But I would say for me, you're looking bad at this Jong deal, and I would move on if it was me.
Hey, do you know what's going to happen if this carries on though? Because everyone knows United want De Jong. He doesn't seem like he wants to leave Barca, and he's rightfully owed the third wage that he's played his football to earn. So if the longer this goes on, clubs are going to know United are desperate. So when they start pursuing replacements, they go and ask Wolves, oh, how much for Ruben Neves? Wolves are going to say, listen, these guys are desperate. I reckon we can add on a couple, maybe 10, 15 mil to our demand, and they'll still give it to us because they need the midfielder, as they've been trying for one all summer. So the longer you guys go on without pursuing replacements and being so focused on De Jong, the more you're going to potentially have to pay for replacements as well, because let's say you go to Wolves and ask for Neves, they're going to need to replace him because he's one of their most important players. So the fee they're going to demand from you is going to be so much higher than it would have been if you just given up on Frankie earlier and pursued him, let's say, in the middle of July or at the beginning of July. So the longer this chase goes on for without you getting him, then the harder you're making it is to sign a replacement as well.
Listen, I agree. But then there's also, I'll give an example. Not last summer, the summer before, when the Sancho deal was going on, and it was like, is Sancho coming? Is he not? Are Man United going to pay what Dortmund want? Blah, 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 100 million or whatever it was. And in the end, we didn't get him, but we got him a year later. Now, people will say, well, I don't know if he's worth it because of last season. I believe Sancho's worth it. I think he's going to prove that he's worth it over time at Manchester United. Should we have signed, I don't know, a proper replacement, dropped him and gone on to, I don't know, let's say it was Jack Grealish, because that was one of the touted players. So we got Jack Grealish, even though Sancho was maybe the first choice, for example, and missed out on Sancho. Or do you say, no, we're going to keep going?
Nick, can I just stop you there for 1 second? I know you're talking about, but the difference is Sancho wanted to come. There's rumors that Frankie de Jong doesn't want to come. So what you're doing is a little bit, I get what you're saying, but the Sancho thing is totally different because Sancho wanted to come, whereas Frankie, there's a lot of news saying that.
But listen, if my manager is so deluded that he's pursuing a player that doesn't want to come, our issue is bigger than de Jong not wanting to come. We've got a deluded manager for the next 4 or 5 years. That's the real issue here. So, I can't view it like that. I have to have leave that he must have spoken to De Jong.
Yeah, I think the difference between the Sancho one and the De Jong one is with the Sancho one, even though it weren't ideal, you still had decent enough players in the squad to fill in that role for another year while you waited. Now I don't think you do. Now I think you're tight in midfield as is, and especially in DM. I don't think you've got the quality in a DM at the minute at the club of a De Jong or of a Neves. So I think you have to go all out this window and get someone. You need someone because you cannot afford to run with Fred.
The one thing I will say, is it's not all bad. Like everyone's, I mean, it's all funny. We're laughing at this deal and so on. It's taken so long to go for De Jong, but there is other players out there that could actually suit Man United better, like Sangare, Ibrahim Sangare from PSV. He'd be perfect to come into the system. Player from PSV. So I think Ten Hag will be familiar with him. I believe he's one of Man United's targets. There's a lot of players out there that maybe aren't at the level of De Jong at the moment, but I think they can be better than De Jong, and they probably come at a much cheaper price. Neves will be very pricey, but again, he's Premier League proven and he can take the team to another level regardless. So I don't think it's all bad without De Jong.
I think there's a major problem because I'm agreeing with a Spurs fan, so there's something wrong with this channel.
Probably means you're wrong.
Probably.
Yeah, it could be. It could be. Yeah.
I don't think anything anybody has said is wrong. We could end up playing more for another target. We could end up with egg on our face by not ending up signing Frankie de Jong. But I just agree with what Neeks is saying. I trust Erik ten Hag. At the moment, I do. And the reason I actually trust him more than maybe if he'd been here 3 or 4 years is because he's so new and fresh. Generally, managers get given what they want when they join Man United. And I just think if he'd have sat with a player and the player's like, listen, I'm just not coming, even if they give me double my deferred wages, I'm not signing for Man United, I don't think we'd still be chasing him. That's just my belief. And it's bad for banter because it's a fairly logical train of thought. They're friends, they know each other. I think the deal is still on. But it is a big gamble because if we don't end up with him and we end up signing nobody else, then there is a big hole in that team for the year and there'll be scrutiny. And I think what it is doing, it's undoing all the other good pieces of business because Man United keep being spoken about as if we still need to sign 20 more players this month. Like we've signed as many as City, and City are being raved about as having the greatest summer since sliced bread. And I'm not suggesting.
Terry, come on, no, you can't say that.
What do you mean?
Add some context there, Terry, man. Come on.
No. I'm not. There's no context to be added because people say
there's heavy context, bro.
What context is needed there then?
Okay, so let's see. One team's been winning leagues and will probably win the league again, and another team is building to even secure a top 4 spot. So you can't say, oh, we've signed the same number of players who also aren't the same quality, then say, our window is just as good as theirs.
You say, so again, it depends on how you're framing it. I didn't say we've signed as good of players. People are
no. But what?
Go on. Have your context say as well.
I feel like, do you know, say it again. I think what you said was you signed the same amount of players with City, and then you said there's no context that needs to be given. But the context needs to be that City only needed to sign 2 or 3 players.
Yeah, you needed more.
In my opinion, you need to sign about 11 players.
Yeah, so, but again, I get your point. I get your point. But that for me is I know what you're doing there. That is no. You're being hyperbolic, like a lot of people have done. Even the mushrooms do it as well. The Mushroom Man United fans do it. We need 11 players. If we don't get 11 players, I'm going to be angry. We were never going to sign 11 players in one summer. So you set the expectation that high, and you're always going to fail. What's the saying I heard? One, my favorite saying in the world: if you judge a goldfish by its ability to climb a tree, you'll always be disappointed. When you set expectations up here, United need 11 players, otherwise it's a dead summer. Then you're always going to say we've had a dead summer. We've signed 3 very good players, different stages of their career, different levels of talent. We will probably sign two more minimum. 5 players for me is about the maximum I ever want my club to sign. I think when you start going into 7s and 8s and 9s, it's very hard to integrate and get right. I even look at Spurs. I think 6. You haven't really signed 6. Fraser Foster doesn't really count. He's a reserve. You said 5 first-team players. I think if Spurs start going into 6 and 7s and 8s, then there'll be a problem with integration. And that isn't speaking at Spurs. I've always believed that. So we're pretty much on course to bringing in 4 or 5 new players for our first team that will improve us. It's ridiculous the level of stick United are still getting, in my opinion.
But have you signed 4 or 5 players that are going to go into your first team or your squad? Because as I said, for me, I feel like you need definitely, okay, I can say you need 11 players, but in my opinion, I would say you need 8 first teamers. Like I'm talking about starters, regular play. For me,
come on.
Say we need 8 first teamers. Would you A, expect, and B, think it's good business to buy 8 first teamers in one window?
Well, if you think about it, if we're going back to Spurs as an example, Spurs, I believe, have got 4 first team that they can be plugged straight into a formation, into a tactic for Spurs, and they're going to start with Jed Spence, Perisic. Richarlison could start over someone like Kounde, depending on the game, and obviously Basuma is definitely going to start. And obviously they bought who was the last person that was? They bought Lenglet. Lenglet could start again over the likes of Ben Davies. So I believe they bought 5 players which can go straight into their team. Man United, you bought the left back, who again he looks competent. We don't know exactly. Malacia. He looks like he's competent, but we don't know if he's going to outtake the likes of Shaw and
I would say he's probably as likely to take Shaw's position as Richarlison is to take Kulusevski.
But my overarching point is that Man United haven't bought players that are guaranteed I'm going to take that mantle, take that space.
I don't know. I don't know, Lee. I think that Malacia could very well could. You know, he's not a kid. He's 22 years of age. The manager wanted to bring him into to Ajax for a reason, and he's a player that I think can do it. Eriksen's a real interesting one as well, because there's an irony in saying he's not a first team player. The same people that say that Bruno is a stat padder, overrated, no tech, loses the ball too much, are also now saying, well, he ain't a first. How's he getting another Bruno? Bruno's too good for him to come into the team. This is what I mean by the contradictions in the contradictions within the criticism we get. Is it doesn't stack up if we're having a serious conversation. If it's banter, cool. But either Bruno isn't very good, therefore we've bought a new first teamer in Eriksen, or Bruno's really, really good and we bought a good bit of backup for him. And the only thing that let Bruno down is he was never getting a rest. And Bruno not getting a rest burnt him out. So therefore, bringing someone in like Eriksen, who is more than capable of filling in for him, means you keep Bruno at his best all year. And Bruno Fernandes all year is dangerous. So my question would be, which of the two is it?
Just really quickly, I think what you guys have done is the perfect model. You don't buy players to come in and replace another first team player. You come in to buy players to compete with the first team players. Bruno and Eriksen are just as good as each other. They have different parts about their game that they're better at. Eriksen's the more senior player, so you know definitely what you're getting with him. And Bruno will learn a lot from Eriksen, especially passing wise. So it's not a question about who's better, who's going to start. And I think the same for Malacia and Shaw. And he's not coming in to be Shaw's understudy. He's coming in to compete with Shaw, and if he's good enough, he'll take Shaw's spot. Same with Lisandro Martinez at the centre-back position. I think Ten Hag's trying to, similar to Conte, create a team where it's not about this is our first team player and this is our backup. It's about having a bunch of players that are competing for the same positions, and if you're good enough, you're going to make the squad. It's as simple as that.
I also don't think it makes sense for a new manager to come straight into a new team and buy 8-9 players like straight away. I think they need to almost give the chance to what the current crop of who they've got there, because as much as United's players, a lot of them are dross. There are some decent ones there that he needs to give the chance to.
But like what I will say, go on. Sorry.
I just want to say, I think people overstate United's current squad about how bad it is personally. Because yes, there are holes in there. Yes, there are players who probably shouldn't be there. But at the end of the day, like, this is a squad that also finished second. You can call it a fraudulent second, a false second, or you want. It still came second that season. And if the players were that terrible, they wouldn't have come second. So I personally think that, like Tom said, buying so many first-team players is a bit mad, because you could easily save that money and spend it more wisely if you give the players a chance and they prove it to you. Like, I just feel like people suddenly, with United, I feel like people suddenly think everyone's crap there, when realistically, I've always said it. Like, people have said, oh, like, Bruno's suddenly dog shit, and Shaw's shit, and Rashford's shit, and Martial's shit, and all these players are shit. But I personally think for the last 2 years, they haven't been properly coached. As in, Bruno might lose the ball a lot, but he was basically allowed to freestyle. Like, he didn't have a system or a structure or like a strict way that he had to play for the benefit of whatever system Oli was playing, because I don't really know what was playing, to be honest.
Well, yeah. I think
people overstate how bad some United's players are. And
I think you're right. Again, as a United fan, it cuts a little deeper when you literally get ridiculed for 2 years for having no system, no coaching, PE teacher, and then that guy goes and a top-class coach comes in, oh, actually, your squad ain't good enough either. Well, then by that logic,
but
by that logic, why are we blaming Ollie for everything? Like, it never makes any sense.
Exactly. The players were bad. Why did Ollie get blamed then? Like, it doesn't make sense.
This is what I was gonna say though. Like, I think a lot of people always miss the point that two things can be true in any given situation. Two things can be true. The players can still not be good enough, even though you do get a better coach. And I think my overarching thing is, I feel like it's so downplayed how bad Man United are. I feel like people always go to, yeah, this is what Rashford has done before. Yeah, Bruno got 20-something GA in one season, etc., etc. Where I just think Man United are so bad. And it's not even like a banter thing anymore. Like, it's actually disturbing how much you're now, oh, Martial wasn't good 2 weeks ago, but now he's going to be the master of the plan. Oh, 2 weeks ago, Rashford had a broken shoulder, or he had a bad hip, and now all of a sudden he looks good in pre-season. So I feel like, again, there's a lot of people, and Terry's kind of said it, and Meek said it as well. There's a lot of people that are like, oh, well, I believe in the manager now. But there are still granted issues where I can say, well, why do I think that Erik ten Hag is going to come in and go straight away and just hit the ground running? There are chances, and high chances, that he's going to come into the league and actually flop. Like, we can't just go off what he's done before. I can put that to the table and say, we can put that to the table and say to you that we don't know for definite. You can't give me verbatim. I can say for Conte, because he's seen what he's done in the Premier League. He knows the Premier League. He's world renowned as being probably third best manager in the world, some would say. So I can say that with probably more so concrete than what you can say. So I just look at it and I think it's very different.
Question though, are you someone that's been behind Arteta? Are you someone that's behind Arteta or against Arteta, or what?
Again, honestly speaking, I was Arteta out 100%, but now I don't get involved in it because he's staying. So I don't talk about that at all. I don't really get into
but what is your? The reason I ask is this, because I've seen a lot of gooners say what you've said about Man United this summer, and I think it's a fair opinion. But a lot of gooners I've heard say it are the same people that for 3 years have gone, I'm not judging Arteta until he's had 3 years, built his own squad, and he needs to take his time. The same Arsenal fans like, listen, Ten Hag, he doesn't achieve greatness this year, he ain't good enough. It's almost the hypocrisy in those two statements is crazy. But I want to just move this conversation on slightly. Memphis Depay is linked with a move back to Manchester United. Neeks, if we end up bidding, the reports are there's been a £20 million bid made from two separate Premier League clubs, and then Rob Blanchett has said that Man United are in talks with Barcelona over him. So I'm kind of putting two and two together here. United could have been the team that's bid, maybe they're not. But would you like to see Memphis back at Manchester United?
Listen, I liked Memphis when he came. What should I say? Yeah, I was partially hyped for him. I'm trying to think. Did he come the same summer as Martial? He did, didn't he? I think he did.
16,
He did. We signed him, and then like a few weeks later, signed Martial.
Yeah. And I was kind of hyped for him still. But listen, let's not do this, guys. Let's not do this. Like, Memphis is a decent player, but he's only decent. Like, he hasn't. It's not like he's gone away like a Serge Gnabry or a Kevin De Bruyne or a Mo Salah, probably to a slightly lesser extent than those two. But even when he went away, they were pulling up certain numbers, like De Bruyne's numbers were
Depay was putting up big numbers in League One. Maybe it's only League One, yes, but he's putting up 20 plus goals a season for Leon.
It's League One, and League One is a bad league. Like, they got good players.
I disagree.
They got good players, but overall, it's not a high quality league, and we see that. PSG is probably the biggest example of it. We see how they rip the league generally, obviously, minus Poch. And then they go to the Champions League and they struggle. So what are we getting Depay for? Is it backup for Martial? Is it the left winger that he was supposed to be 5 years ago? Like, he was okay at Barca. He wasn't great. He was decent. Like, if we're getting anyone now, and I will say, especially when it's coming to that striker position, because I don't even know, for Holland he plays through the middle, and for Barca he's been playing through the middle. For me, obviously, we've got Cristiano Ronaldo at the moment. We don't know how long it's going to last. And we've got Martial. We don't know what we're going to get from Martial. We know what we're going to get from Ronaldo. We don't know how that all works with the team, etc. But anyone we're getting to challenge or replace Martial as a striker have to have done better than what Depay's done. Because when you get Depay, you basically have two Martials. You don't know what you're going to get. No, you have to get someone much more concrete for that. So for me, and other position you can play on the left. We need a right winger or a striker. We don't need no more left wingers.
He's a striker though. I feel like you are downplaying him. Me personally, I think the other team that put in a bid for him was Tottenham. I can't lie. We've been linked to him all summer. And apparently we've wanted him, but I don't think he's keen on being sort of a second or potentially third option in attack for Tottenham. He's not going to start. And I think as an option for Man United, he would be a very good player to bring in. He's a number 9 now. He plays through the middle. He's not going to be out on the wing. Yes, at Barcelona, he's struggled, but you have to take into consideration everyone has struggled at Barcelona these past 2 years, not because of just the financial issues. Ronald Koeman's a horrible manager. He brought Luke de Jong to their team and was swapping him with Depay up top. So you can tell that he wasn't really made the system to play around him. He's improved a lot from when he left Man United. Let's get one thing clear: like he's mature. His gameplay. I was gonna admit that he is very similar to Martial, as in his link-up plays very well, and the way that he moves and the way that he plays is similar. So I don't know how that would work, but if you can bring him in for cheap, which would be around 15-20 million, which he's available for, I don't see how that can be a bad move.
That seems like we're cutting corners. Again, I've made this point when obviously he's better than Tony. He's better than Ivan Tony. But
no, he's not. No, he's not.
He is.
No, he's not.
Absolutely no chance. You know what? If you disagree that he's better, it further enhances my point. Anyway, it doesn't make a difference. If we are Tottenham and we've got Harry Kane, you go and get Memphis Depay because he's a brilliant backup. We don't have a Harry Kane. The next striker that we should be looking to buy, we should be looking at them like, can he become our Harry Kane? A Darwin Nunes can become your Harry Kane. I'm not saying he will. A Haaland can become your Harry Kane. He probably will, if not more. Jesus. He definitely will not ever be anything like Harry Kane.
Listen, we're going to get onto him because there's two. Don't you dare start slandering him because I'm telling you, he's better than any of your strikers.
Everyone here knows I'm a Brazil fan. I got my view on Gabriel Jesus if we get there today. But the point is, we don't have a Harry Kane. So what we getting a Memphis Depay for? We need to be going up, not just keeping the same level as what we got. We're trying to improve. Yeah.
It seems a bit weird as well because he's just.
I don't know what you.
I don't think they're a similar profile. Like because Nunes was your number 1 target according to reports and all that for a striker. Him and Depay don't seem like similar types of players. So
yeah, but I think that's the plan there. No, but I think the plan there is, again, this could be, I don't want this to happen, by the way. But what I've noticed with Man United this summer, we went for Darwin Nunes, and it was stated very soon after we didn't get him that there are not very many other number 9s that Ten Hag views as being capable to play what he wants. So we then started looking at inside forwards and attackers. And I think Anthony is the number 1 target. But they're talking 60-70 million pounds, and they may not even accept that because they've sold so many players already. So that is an alternative they're looking for. For me, he's no better than Martial and Rashford. That's already been mentioned. He definitely isn't better than Jadon Sancho. I like him. He's good. But I also feel like the pressure was on him before. I know he's older. I know he's matured. But the pressure for him to deliver returning again would be absolutely massive. And he was one of those players that split the fan base. There were some that didn't like the idea that, you know, he'd go and make a rap video while he should. Like, personally, I don't think footballers should. I don't think footballers should definitely have things outside of football they're building, but it shouldn't be. I think one of the biggest things that distracted Marcus Rashford. I don't know if anyone's noticed in the last 2 to 3 months. I haven't seen any footage of him at all doing anything to feed kids anymore. Like, I get a feeling that he's put that to the side. Not that he shouldn't be doing charity work, but this guy was literally taking on politicians that were like attacking him publicly. Doesn't matter whether you agree with those policies or not. That's got to take its toll on you. You know, doing all these things outside of football. You've seen Lukaku do it when he starts jumping on podcasts and talking here and there. All it ever does for me is distract you from. But I don't want him at the club. Like, for me, I just think it would be a backwards move for everybody. He's done well to get like under the shadow. He's reinvented himself. He's done well. It's also a telltale sign for me that the Barca are very willing to let him go at £20 million as well when he's only been there a year. That speaks volumes to me. That speaks absolute volumes. And I personally wouldn't.
If he was that good, Barca would have kept him. It's that simple.
Yeah, I agree. He's not even on. It's not like he's on.
It makes sense. They literally they got Depay for free, Lewandowski. They bought Lewandowski, but Aubameyang for free. Like they've got 2 veteran strikers that are clearly a level ahead.
Look at everyone else who's buying in terms of strikers, and we must go and get Memphis Depay. Like,
Yeah,
come on.
no. The irony is we're getting more stick for buying a brilliant centre back in Lisandro Martinez than people are giving us for going for Memphis, and that's why I don't trust rivals. Oh, go get Memphis! Oh, I'd be great for you. I'd be great for you. I ain't trusting you.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't waste my time on Memphis, and that's not really a slant. I just feel like the kind of player that you should be going for, it shouldn't be Memphis. That's all.
You just have a crap history with X's as well. I don't know why you insist on bringing players back. It's just once they go, they don't.
Hang on, mate. Hang on. You mugs are just going to sign Jay Spearing back, so do one, mate. Do one. and when you get a few injuries this year, you know he's going to be out there running around and playing.
Henderson, Spearing, and Milner, man. I'm ready to see it, man.
I've got some super chats here I've got to do. First one says, "Where's Kaz? We need more energy." That's a message to the panel there, but yeah, Kaz will be back on again next week. Erik Ten Hag isn't Ollie. It's De Jong or bust. Nobody out there close to him. I mean, that's what's been said by Andy Mitten in relation to that deal. So we will see. Comment here says, "I'll say one thing. You want to know why probably big players don't want to go Arsenal because you wish players like Hutchinson a broken leg. Plus, man came from our academy. You treat players like crap and you expect greatness. Wow." Now they're having a dig at some gooners that have clearly been wishing a broken leg on Hutchinson that's joined Chelsea. I didn't know that. Shame on them. Yeah. Kaz is here actually in the comment section. Just want to say a big up to the panel. Special mention to Gooner Lee, amazing guy. Make sure you smash the like button, please. Enjoy your evenings. Thank you, Kaz, for the super chat as well. It means a great deal. Olu here says, banter isn't always meant to be logical, Terry. That's why it's called banter. I agree. I've had this conversation like 100 times in private. I get and I take banter. Like the banter the other day that guy quote tweeted Troops with, where he sort of said, of course, Saliba's not here to play games. You don't kick the ball in 3 years. That's banter. But it's when people use banter as their actual arguments. And you can, we all can tell the difference between a man bantering and someone making a serious point. And people do use awful logic. So I do get the difference, but I can also tell when someone's serious, Olu. I've been doing this game 9 years now, bro. I can read it a mile away. Terry, maybe you're being overly positive regarding the midfield after Scott and Fred. I'm not overly positive about the midfield. I'm just not panicking that not everything's fixed in one go. There is, again, I think there's a fundamental difference. Like, I want improvements, but do I want us to buy the wrong player like we've done for the last 9 years? Nah, I'd rather just do it a little differently, my guy. Thank you to Josh for becoming an Academy member on the Terrace. It means a great deal to me. Thank you. Nav here says, how would you rate out of the top 6 teams where United place in the transfer? Joe, we'll do that one near the end. That's nearer the end of the show rather than now, because we've got to talk about other subjects first. We'll come back to that one, my guy. United by Depay to entice De Jong. I doubt it. Arsenal don't have a good squad. McFred ain't good, but they are better than Saka and El Neni. Ronaldo is a better number 9 than Jesus. So Arsenal fan, calm down, is what Zane is saying to you there.
Yeah, we'll see. I feel like Man United are going to have a very tricky season. Where I tell you that much.
Yeah, I mean, it's an interesting one. Blaze here says blasting League but then praising Mbappe for crushing it in the league is the real definition of hypocrisy.
No, one second. Whoa. Mbappe, if Mbappe was only doing it in Ligue 1, I would not praise him in the way that I do. Mbappe is the first teenager to win a World Cup final since Pele. He tore up that World Cup, by the way. I remember when he destroyed Argentina. His Champions League record is brilliant, goals and assists. So he's not just doing it in Ligue 1, he's doing it everywhere. I don't know what his Euros record is, but I know he's in the Nations League final. Like, he's doing it at every level. So I can look at his league career and say, well, he's not only doing it because of the league. Now, yes, granted, Memphis Depay has a good international record just in terms of goals. But what have Netherlands achieved with him there? I'm not blaming him. What has he achieved? What is he doing in the Champions League? I mean, they ended up in the Europa League. Again, I'm not blaming on him, but what is he doing to assist his team? Mbappe does it everywhere against every opposition playing for any team. So, yeah, it's completely different.
Fair enough. We're going to come back to some more super chats a little bit later. Make sure that, what's he say here? Now we've got Guna Lee. Next week, it's Lee Gunner. Lee Gunner's back on the 2nd of August. He's back on the terrace. So make sure you guys are tuning in for straight facts. He will be returning. Arsenal played 1 game a week last year. Relax, bro. I want to go into this because the super chats are kind of pushing us in that direction. We're going to go on to some of the other transfer rumors a little bit later. But you're really confident about Arsenal's season, Guna Lee.
Yeah, listen, I've said, and I can say it on here, I'm very certain that I feel like Arsenal getting top 4. I've said that Arsenal getting third, to be honest, and I tell you why. I tell you by default, I don't trust Chelsea at all. I feel like they are some of the things that we speak about with Tuchel. We think about the attack. We think about the fact that in the first season they scraped 4th, and yes, they got Champions League, but it's cup competitions. We think about last season; they didn't have a great season, and yes, look. We've spoken about the fact that they had issues with Roman before, but there are things that we can put towards Tuchel and kind of like put that towards him. But look, for me, I don't trust Chelsea at all. The attack we saw yesterday, we saw in the first game, we saw last season. It's not great. So that's another thing that I don't rate with the Chelsea lot. Man United, I don't even want to talk about them because I don't even think they're going to finish 9th, to be honest. And then you got Spurs. Sorry. When we think about Spurs, again, yeah, they're doing well. But for me, I've said before, most of their kind of transfers, I don't feel really move the needle. But not saying that you need to buy world class or like these massive players. But at the end of the day, I'm not that hyped on Conte. I feel like, again, some of the allegations and some of the things that he put against him, second season syndrome, Kulu, second season syndrome. So for me, I'm not sitting here praising Spurs, but I'm not looking down on them either. And I just think by default, and if you asked me before what I think about Arteta, I don't think he's going to take us to the promised land. I don't think this guy is an amazing manager, but do I think he's going to make steady improvements? Yes. Do I feel like he's going to be enough to get us to 4th or 3rd? Yes. Do I think he's going to get us 2nd or 1st? No. And as I said, by default, I feel like we're going to get into those higher positions.
And I need to ask you a question. Go on.
Wait, man. Ask away, bro.
Yeah, no, because this is sounding crazy to me right now. I haven't got Arsenal.
This is wild.
I don't think that there is one chance. There's 0% chance that you get top 4 next season. And let me just break this down. As everyone has highlighted in the comment section, you played 1 game a week. Yeah. You're now going Thursday, Sunday. Let's take that into consideration. Your team hasn't improved the whole lot. You've got about 3 players really that you brought in that are going to move the needle. Zinchenko, Jesus, Vieira. The other players, who was it? Marquinhos,
yeah. The keeper, yeah.
And no one cares about. So those 3 players, they improve your team, but they don't take your team to the next level. Let's be honest. None of them are, apart from Jesus, is the striker you've been missing. Vieira and Zinchenko aren't amazing players. And yes, as you just said, you don't need amazing players to do that.
Yeah.
But your depth still has many problems. There's no Partey replacement once he gets injured. He's an injury-prone player. You haven't got a DM to come in and cover that position. You're going to have Saka, same stuff time and time again. You're going to be playing 2 games a week. You literally had injury problems playing 1 game a week. Imagine playing 2 games a week. This is going to put more pressure on those players, more pressure on this team. And Arteta just won't be able to handle that, I personally think. Yeah. You guys need more signings. I think you probably need 2 or 3 more players to even consider yourselves to get into this top 4, because 5 subs is going to make a big difference next season. Now, I feel like a lot of people are forgetting this. Mid-game, it allows the bigger teams and the teams with the bigger squads to make that bigger impact and change how they're playing in that game. Arsenal will have that issue with squad depth.
What I will also say is I feel like, and it's funny, like a lot of people say, oh yeah, and look, rightfully so, we deserve to be bantered, we didn't get top 4. But the fact that we also have Europa League does play into our favour, unfortunately, for some of the fans, because we are playing teams that are going to be not actually at the level. So we're not going to be playing these top later players every single week, Thursday and Sunday. So I feel like that does actually have some slight advantage to us. That. Now, again, I'm not saying that's a good thing. Can I
ask a question on that? Ready to interject? Yeah. Last season, we were all told by Arsenal fans the reason you were going to make top 4 is because you were only playing 1 game a week. Yeah. Now the narrative is, and again, sorry to be like overly logical. If it's banter, tell me it was banter. But now playing 2 games a week is better for you than 1 game a week. Why is that different this year compared to last year?
Well, people that said that, I genuinely don't. I can't speak on behalf of them. I can't say that yet. But what I will say is, people that do believe that, again, I've thought that we had a better chance. I will agree with that. I did think we have a better chance, and part of it is down to the manager. And again, I'm not here to say Arteta in or Arteta out. I've already said what I think on Arteta. I do think that is part of the learning process as well. And again, this is why I come back to the whole Erik ten Hag thing. Why is it that people think that he's going to come in and do amazing things? Because he has got to have that learning and bedding in period. Same way how everyone, because if you think about it, the reason why people put Spurs into a higher position is only because of the manager. It's not to do with the squad, in my opinion. I think it's just because the manager is the equalizer to get them into those.
And
top
we have
three.
An attack that is of the level of the best, one of the best attacks.
Yes, but if your squad,
you just
I don't think your squad is that great. And again, you're one injury away, in my opinion, from being in another precarious position.
World-class players.
No, we don't.
We have two world-class players that we can rely on.
You got one, and you got one very good player. Stop lying, please. You don't have two very good. You have one world-class player, and you have one very good player.
Son is world-class.
But anyway, so as for me, I'm looking at it and I'm saying, look, I think by pure default, not because Arteta is this amazing manager. I don't want to get it misconstrued for people to say, oh, I'm backing the manager, I'm deluded, yada, yada. As I said, I just don't think Chelsea are that amazing team. And I don't necessarily think that Spurs are this amazing team either. And look,
what happens next season then when you get, because I'm assuming the expectation for Arsenal next year is top four, or at least a challenge for top four and go far in the Europa League.
Yeah.
What happens come March when your squad's a little bit thinner, because you've got a couple of injuries, and your manager then has to focus on one competition? Do you expect him to focus on the Premier League or the Europa League? Because he's going to focus on one of them. He's going to
no. For me, that's not an excuse. For me, I feel like this season, and I think what plays a big factor into what I'm saying as well is Arteta has nowhere to turn. He has nowhere to hide. He has no excuses now. So he knows. I think what Arsenal, the board were doing before, is they weren't actually putting any parameters on Arteta. They weren't putting any kind of real levers to say, well, okay, this is what you need to do by the end of the season. This is what you need to do by a certain point in the season. I think this season is clear. We've spent, I think now under him, close to 500 million pounds. So I think he now knows he must get top four. And
if he couldn't do it when there was no pressure on him, why is he going to do it when there's immense pressure on him? I don't see how he's going to now do it when there's so much more pressure on him.
He's got Vieira and Jesus. He's got Vieira and Jesus. It's different, Tom.
No. But what I will say is, and give him credit, because again, I can say when he does something wrong, and I can say that when he deserves a little bit of credit. When he does get better players, and when he has got players that are fitting his system or whatever, how he wants to play, there is a difference. Rival fans might not see it, and you might not agree, but there was big streaks throughout the season last season where we were playing a lot better football, we were scoring a lot more goals, and it was when we had our first team. And again, I am saying a lot of with the chance that we do get more players. I think we need a wide forward, and we definitely need a centre mid to say that confidently we're going to get that top four, third place position. So currently, right now, I'm not as confident. But as I said to you, like what I will say, as I said, just to go back, I'm not including Man United in a top four.
That's fine. Like, there's no chance. We're 45 minutes into the show, and at 5-minute intervals, you keep mentioning that Man United are dead. Cool. Man United were the worst ever Premier League team that we've had last season in terms of points, 58 points. There was a point, by the way, in the season, late-ish, where we were actually still in a race with you for top four, when we came to the Emirates, and when you beat us, it was pretty much done. For me, it was done already, but mathematically and realistically, that was probably the game where it was done. Went to the Emirates and a few dodgy decisions. But anyway, by the by, Man United, worst season ever. We had 3 managers, by the way, Solskjaer, Carrick, and Rangnick. Solskjaer was the only permanent one at any one point. Spurs had 2 managers last season. The first one, which they hired probably on deadline day, that was their signing, because they went through about 15 managers in the summer, which obviously disrupted their preseason. Harry Kane,
including your manager,
Harry Kane didn't play for the first half of the season because he didn't want to be there, and he only turned up in the second half of the season. Who you say is the only world-class player, but we're kind of playing with 10 men, none who were world-class for the first half of the season. And then the manager they finally got was the one that they wanted initially, But anyhow, we'll deal with that in a second. And Chelsea had an owner who couldn't even come to the country at one point, who had to sell the club and couldn't do anything for a period of time in the season. They also bought a bum of a striker for 100 million. So effectively, they were one man down in their team or squad whenever he was playing or whenever he was in the squad. Arsenal, at the same time, considering all of this, one game a week, a manager who's been there longer than all the other managers that I just mentioned, a squad who had all great harmony. They had sold all these players to free up the wages, and all the young people could be released from the shackles of Aubameyang's late training session. You had top 4 in your hand. You lost 3 games in a row after the international break.
Can you just name the opponents quickly, just so the people know?
Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Brighton.
Brighton, Palace, and who?
Crystal Palace, Southampton, and Brighton.
And then you gave your manager a new contract on the back of getting it to show him that you believe in his vision. And all of that, you still went and lost top 4.
As I said,
who got a manager in the less time at a point in the season where they were far behind you in the league.
With a worse squad as well.
But look, hold on. I'm just gonna debunk all your stuff. Hold on. I'm just gonna debunk all your stuff right now. Hold on. I'm gonna debunk your points. Your points are silly because no 2 seasons are ever the same. Your points are silly because no 2 seasons are ever the same.
Let me say what I'm saying. How do you extrapolate what we saw last season on all those other potential clubs to get top 4? Extrapolate what Arsenal did last season to then say Arsenal are going to get 3rd. You didn't just say 4th, you said 3rd. Explain your workings of how you extrapolate that, because I'm not seeing it. And I do.
As I've said to you, for me, I said by default, Arsenal getting top 4.
You've twisted it and made it the point. It's not default.
No, hold on. Are you speaking? Okay, are you talking or am I talking? Are you talking or am I talking?
No,
hold on. If you're talking, I'm going to be. Okay, I'll wait for you. I'll finish. Okay, so as I said to you, by default, I believe that Arsenal are going to get top 4. I'm not making it a manager thing. You're making it into a manager thing. I'm not making it into a manager thing. I just think Man United, as I said to you, you finished 11 points behind us. I don't think you've done anything at this current moment to catch that gap of us. I don't think you've done enough to catch Tottenham, who you finished 13 points above you. And then obviously Chelsea finished even more points above you. As I said to you, Chelsea, they're going for a big rebuild. There's fraud allegations against Tuchel that he can't manage an attack. His midfield, Kante, the defense. So you can't just say, because they're buying all of these players, that they're then going to just be these world beaters, because it looks a bit like Harlem Globetrotters. And again, you can also look to the point that Chelsea, their attack does look blunt. Sterling, people rate him, some people don't. I don't know how he's going to do in that team. Timo Werner, don't rate him. Havertz, I don't rate him. So people are just going off the names, I think. As I said, with Arsenal, hopefully we make that leap. And again, I don't think it's far-fetched to say that Arsenal are going to finish top 4. People might say,
default is a far-fetched.
Hold on. Let me land.
I agree.
I don't think it's far-fetched for people to think that Arsenal are going to finish top 4. And for me, as I said, part of it is I'm putting a lot of pressure on Arteta because, as you said, first season he finished 8th, first half the season he finished 8th, his first full season he finished 8th, third season he finished 5th. Yeah, so just second and 2.5, he finished 5th. Yeah, so some people say he's overachieved. I think it's hard to say that because he did overachieve, but he bottled it. That there's no 2 ways about it. But at the same point, I'm now looking at it. He has to make progression, and the only steady progression he's going to make is to move into the top 4. Hold on. Okay. Yeah, hold on. So now the only steady progression that he needs to make is to get to that top 4. When he now what I'm saying to you is, and something that Matisse says, big up to Matisse. He doesn't know me. I don't know him, but what he says is really, really good. To actually achieve, I believe you have to overachieve. So for me, I'm looking at fourth place. Yeah, it's good. But to get to that 3rd place, we didn't finish that many points behind Chelsea with no striker. And yes, it was on Arteta to do that. And he believed that at one good point throughout the season that he could get top 4 without it, without Aubameyang, without the likes of Lacazette, without playing Nketiah, etc. But it didn't work. And for me now, I'm looking at it. We now have Jesus, and I feel like he's going to be such a transformative striker. I'm not calling him world class. He is not world class. The same way how I don't think Son's world class. Son is better than Jesus, clearly, but I do think that he's
Sorry,
going
just don't compare them.
hold on. Let me land. I think he's going to make a massive difference for our attack. And it's not only the goals. I think the movement, the link-up play. And as I said, with the leap that I'm assuming that Saka is going to take, with the leap that I'm thinking that someone like Partey is going to take, with the leap that we've got now, we've raised the base level, the quality. So we've got the likes of Fabio Vieira, we've got Saliba back, who it seems like it, and everyone keeps saying it, even though it's not. It seems like a new signing. We've now got Zinchenko, who is, I think, going to be a bona fide. For Arsenal, I think he's going to hold on. For Arsenal,
we're going to stagnate.
For Arsenal, I think he's going to be nominated, actually, and it might be a little punt. I think he's going to be nominated for one of the players of the season. I think he's going to be an underrated player for us this season. And every top team has a player like that, whether it's a James Milner, like a John O'Shea, a Darren Fletcher, a Park, an Essien,
Why are Arsenal's predictions always based off the potential on their players? I expect
no, it's not potential.
I expect Partey.
See what I'm doing?
I'm not projecting. Wait, Tottenham, Chelsea, and the other teams you mentioned, we have players that we know what to expect because they're world class and because they're top class players. They consistently play at a certain level. Arsenal players, you're relying on players to improve. They have to improve in order for your team to improve.
Okay,
they have to have way better seasons.
Hold on. So what I don't get is that
you said
and Martinelli have to double their goal scoring.
Hold on. But you see what you do. You see what you do. Okay, you're putting words in my mouth. You're saying I didn't project anything. What people do, they do the same thing what they do with people like Ronaldo. They do the same thing what they do with people like Varane. They do the same thing what they do with people like Jorginho. They put these names on a pedestal and they just keep saying, oh, like this player is this good because of what he's done before. But this is, the beautiful thing about sports, the beautiful thing about football, you have to update your resume. The beautiful thing about sports is every single week you have to go out there and you have to keep consistently improving.
You do though. But when Wimbledon starts and Djokovic and Federer are in the tournament, Nadal, Federer, and Djokovic are in the tournament. You predict them as your favorites because they are the best, because they've been the most consistent. Mm-hmm. There's no harm in going, I fancy Andy Murray this year, and I'm talking a few years back because I haven't watched tennis. I think Andy Murray might do it. I think saying Arsenal might do it is fair. I think everything you've said about Arsenal's improvement is fair. Where I think you're wrong, and we do need to go to these super chats because there's been a lot. I have to respect the viewers. Where I think you're slightly wrong is just this default place that nobody else is going to improve, because forget Man United. They just keep Man United better than them. They just keep Man United right of the for all the things you've said about Chelsea and all the things you've said about Tottenham. They're building better squads on top of the teams that you don't really rate that already finished in front of you. And yes, you're adding quality to yours, but they've done it as well. So I just think the default thing, I'd rather hear you say personally, I just think we'll be better than them next year rather than default, because I don't really believe in the fault.
No, I meant the default of because I think the default of the Man United thing, that I'm not including them. That's what I meant to say. So if I got misconstrued or
fair enough.
The Man United thing, I think by default I'm not including them. So sorry, apologies if I got that.
No worries at all.
And then it was the Chelsea thing where, as I said, I feel like yes, they are buying world-class players. Well, yes, they're buying big names, but we don't know what they're gonna do. Like we're just assuming.
I get that. But
how do we know what Jesus is gonna do? Jesus could easily just score like 7-8 goals.
I said this to a gal the other day, and this is why I know it's an Arsenal fan logic thing at the moment. Yeah. He said to me, because I think that the Sandro Martinez is worth the £45 million that we've paid for him, and that's all we've paid right now. He said, you're only going to know that when he plays. By that same logic, Arsenal fans can't be confident about their season either. Because
that is correct. Yeah. Of course, I'm going to be more optimistic about my own club than other. I'm not going to then start saying. But
if your logic is we can't predict Tottenham and Chelsea's because they've bought big names, we don't know how they're going to play. You can't predict yours because you bought 3 players in and we don't know how they're going to play.
Of course, yeah. But again, with Arsenal, I think the major issues that we had was obviously that striker role, the centre mid role, and then obviously the fullback, which was a major problem. We've now with us, I feel like with the Chelsea thing, it's again partly the manager, which he doesn't get any stick for. It is partly the midfield that they don't get any. Jorginho was rated as the 3rd best player in the world a couple of seasons ago. We don't know what's going to happen with the likes of Sterling. As I said, my only thing with Chelsea is I just feel like with Chelsea, they're so highly rated off what they've done because they won the Champions League, and they're still living off that Champions League. And I feel like that's a fair point to make towards Chelsea. And look, it's great.
I want to move. I need to start going to some of these super chats. We've got a lot of other points to get to as well tonight. First one here says, "Hey Terry, love the show. Can we please have the beautiful brown lady back on? She supports Arsenal." Fair enough. Just use a name. Jesus will not score 25 goals in the Premier League this season. You lot will be lucky to get 10th. Zinni and Jesus are overrated and finished. That's from a Man City fan. So there's a bit of bitterness, I think, in there. Missing the fact that even with the problems you mentioned with these teams, you still finished outside the top 4 last season, is what Emmanuel says. What have Arsenal done for the fans to have this much chest, is what Macavia thinks about those opinions. Terry, this guy Waffler represents all Arsenal fans.
Listen, I'm doing a good job. If I represent all of them, then I'm doing a good job, man. And thank you for the super chat, brother.
1, 2, 3, 4. Arsenal and United are battered everywhere they go, is what KDB says. Tyre just blasted Tuchel and Conte for Arteta to finish above them. Plus, he said Arsenal's attack is not reliable. Stop saying I feel like, because it's not a fact. Okay, saying what you're saying isn't facts, but it's an opinion. He just has an opinion.
Yeah.
So you don't think Arteta can take you to the promised land, but you can beat out Erik ten Hag, Tuchel, and Conte to top 4. It doesn't make sense, is what Joshua thinks.
Yeah, I said next season, not moving forward. As I said to you, I'm talking about next season. I'm putting a prediction of next season, but yeah.
Okay. Chelsea 76 goals, Arsenal 61. Wind your neck in, is what Anton's got
I did say we had no striker. If you think about it, if we're going off that promise of that we had no striker, we had played with 10 men, in my opinion, for most of the season.
Yeah, and Chelsea played Timo Werner half the time.
Yeah. But they also hold on. They did still, no matter what you want to say, they did still have £100 million striker. Whatever you want to say, everyone, I'm sure people in this panel, I don't want to start looking up for receipts. I don't know. I'm sure most of you put Lukaku as the top goal scorer. So don't now start putting, because in hindsight, yeah, that's what. So I'm sure if I go and look in receipts and I start finding what people have been saying about Lukaku, you can't now say, oh, in hindsight, oh yeah, they did. They had this player, that they had a £100 million striker. The manager didn't make him.
Let me tell you what I said about Lukaku. Everyone on the channel kind of knows because I've said it all the time, but obviously you're not aware. Lukaku underachieved massively for what he should have done. But the Lukaku that we saw is the Lukaku that I expected, minus the goals against the small teams. Yeah. What he did in the big games, which is absolutely nothing, is what he should have been doing, was what he does. He's known for. So Chelsea missed out on his small game goals, but in the big games, we weren't going to get anything from it anyway.
But am I going crazy to think that a lot of people had him as top goal scorer?
No, you did.
Okay, yeah, fine. So what I'm saying is to say that they had one player that's worth £100 million. They then had Havertz, which was worth £75 million player. Then they also had Timo Werner, that was £50 million, and then they had Ziyech, who was I think he was 28 million, and then they had Captain America, he was another 30 million, and then they had the Golden Boy Mount, and then they had another Golden Boy.
So they're all crap.
And they had another 1-1 demon in Cho. So
they're all shit, but we scored more goals than you. Like, it's not really adding up. And Tuchel can't work with attackers.
Okay, yeah. So what I'm trying to say is,
but don't worry, Jesus is going to be. Jesus is going to be his namesake. It's going to be Jesus. He's going to take you up to 95 goals.
We're going to move on. We're going to move on to the next super chat.
It's going to be so predictable, man.
Chelsea's attack is inconsistent and not clinical enough to challenge for the Prem. All that being said, we still will finish third at best and challenge for the Champions League. There are levels to this thing here.
If you get 2 attackers, we can win it again.
Malik here says Son literally scored 23 Premier League goals with no penalties, but somehow Jesus will outscore him. Dang Arsenal to top 4, drag Arsenal to top 4. Delusional is what Malik thinks about that opinion. Jaden here, says Son is world class. Stop being a deluded Arsenal fan. Next, you were going to say Martinelli is better than Son, like the rest of them lot.
Not a chance in hell. Not a chance in hell.
Eagle of the Heavy Metal says, if you believe Ligue 1 is better than the Premier League, you're high. I support and follow. Bundesliga. Sorry. You are high. I support and follow Milan, Barca, Dortmund, and United. The Bundesliga is the second most competitive league in Europe. Thank you for that super chat, my friend. Thank you. Son and Kane, as one word.
You know what? I love that, Terry. Say it again.
What, Yeah, there's no T on the end there, people. I didn't call them a bunch. That's all I didn't do.
I wish you did, mate. I wish you did.
And I'm a Chelsea fan. United is weaker than last season in depth-wise. I know people don't rate Pogba and Matic. Still, their bodies don't have that right now. Listen, body-wise, on paper, you're absolutely right. United are definitely thinner, but nobody rated them players last year either. Arsenal are getting top 4. Ha, ha, ha. You made third-grade signings with an inadequate manager. Deep down, you know you'll be lucky to get top 6, is what's been said there. Lee is real-world context. If every male disappeared in the world, I could marry Margot Robbie.
Listen, if you meet her, you never know. If your breast smells nice, you might have a chance, fella.
Mate, I think it, Jay, no disrespect, bro. I think even if every other man was gone, I think Robbie might just like, you know, bat for the other team for a bit, bro. Do you know what I mean? Or go celibate or whatever. You won more. Who's won more trophies, Jesus or Son? Shush, is what that person says. Guy giving Igal a run for his money.
Listen, man, big up Igal, man. Listen, me and him gonna connect.
Arsenal looking at bringing in 3 more City players is what Red Wolf says. Arsenal lost 13 games, same as the previous season. That's very
true. They don't
true.
get enough stick for that. They lost a third of their league games last season. And
crazy.
They're going to finish above us.
Arteta overachieved. You Arsenal fans are delusional. Lee Gunner is right about the standards of your club. Arsenal fans don't realize how mid they are, is what Joel has got to say. Zane here says, as Lee Gunner says, Arsenal fans are the most deluded fan base. Newcastle will finish above Arsenal. Arsenal are the new Everton. Arteta, 14th best manager in the Premier League.
Thank you for the super chat. Thank you.
This guy over here having to invent a new form of maths to prove his point. Terry, it's too complex. You wouldn't understand. I don't think he did that. Bit of banter here. You're making a splash tonight. I'm embarrassed. Martin's embarrassed that you spot the same club as him.
I tell you what, Lee. Martin, good haircut, fella. Good haircut.
You like twins. Big up, Terry. You never said you had a Gal 2.0.
Listen, keep it coming, man. I tell you. Listen, you know what? All these people, I'm gonna remember this stream, and I want you to come back. And I want a pure apology. You ain't got to say like just a simple apology would do.
Frank here says Frank Lucas. That's the guy from American Gangster, man, like Denzel.
Yeah,
you signed Gabriel Jesus, not Jesus Christ.
Listen, it all comes in all forms, man. Blessings come in all forms. And you know what? We've got 3 Gabriels now. And if you know anything about your Bible, who was Gabriel in the Bible, man? The guy that told Mary that he was gonna have a baby Jesus, man. So look,
the archangel, isn't it?
The angel, man, the angel.
Wasn't Lucifer also an angel at one point? Be careful.
Yeah, listen, man. I tell you what, and there's a 2 red devils on this stream. So, boy, let's keep it moving, man.
I love this. As an atheist, I don't think it means anything. But there we go. Do you know what I mean? It's one of them ones. You probably know. Sorry, I didn't read that last one. I on the screen didn't read it. Sorry, hang on. Got to be something in the water in London's in Arsenal side of North London because Gooners all sing the same delusion.
Everyone only, man. Everyone.
You probably know Forest. Has that gone through now? 200 grand. Yeah. Oh, they've done it. It's through. It's gone through. 200 grand a week.
It's only a 1-year deal.
I don't see like the appeal in that. Like I don't get it.
200 grand. I see a lot of.
The guys get 200 grand.
How can a club like Forest just think, let's spend 200k a week on Lingard, who hasn't performed across the season for like 4 or 5 years?
I tell you what they're looking at. He could do well. The reason he did well at West Ham is because if Lingard has space, and he'll always have space at Nottingham Forest because no one will play low block against them. Lingard is dangerous in that position. Plus, Lingard's got massive commercial pull. He's got some of the biggest social media followings in the country. That's worth a lot of money as well. So they're gonna tap into all of that. And plus, he's a free signing. And it's why I say
it's a 1-year deal. So if they get,
it's 1 year.
Yeah. So there's so many benefits to it.
Yeah.
Are we forgetting Chelsea lost Rudiger and replaced with a washed Koulibaly? Christensen is another loss. Tottenham and Arsenal have improved, is what Alvaro says.
Koulibaly's not washed. He's better than Rudiger, and we'll sign another.
He's better than Rudiger. Come on.
Yeah, he is.
Fair enough.
Of course. This is the man with a better talent ID than Tuchel. Listen to this guy.
Yeah, you got to listen. Yeah, you got to listen to him. I want to say a big thank you, by the way. Bit cheesy, but we do it. Thank you to my guy here for becoming an official member of the Football Terrace. Umar, thank you very much, an Academy member, and Eagle of the Heavy Metal has also become an Academy member of the Football Terrace. Thank you very, very much indeed. Lots of content coming your way. Good signing for Nottingham Forest is being said there. These super chats are mad tonight. Hi, Terry. If you were to pick one manager between Tuchel or Conte for United, who would it be? Oh, I would pick Thomas Tuchel. And the reason I say that is because he's won league titles and he's won in Europe. Conte is yet to prove that he's European elite in terms of winning that trophy. So if you ask me to pick, I'm picking the guy that's won leagues and I'm picking the guy that's won
league.
Interesting.
Yeah, I picked the guy that's won both. Like, yeah, I would.
Interesting, Terry. Interesting.
That's just my take. Plus, I don't really like Conte's style of football, even though I think he's a brilliant manager, but that's a preference thing rather than who I'd want on my club. When we had Ollie, I'd have taken anybody, to be honest with you, anyone for any particular reason. I think I've deleted all the super chat. I didn't mean to delete. You melt. I'll try and find it in a minute, Nav. I wanted to ask about Chelsea, though, people. Like, we didn't actually get on to talk about Arsenal progressing talks with Paqueta, but I don't think we need to talk Arsenal anymore for a while. I want to move on to Chelsea a little bit because Chelsea lost on penalties last night, and there seemed to be like a real, like, I don't know if it's uproar, but I saw people last night, and I don't know if Neeks has got the video, but I'm seeing Chelsea fans talk about sacking Tuchel. Tuchel's walking a fine line. What are you saying, Ray? Why are some Chelsea fans starting to turn on Thomas Tuchel already?
Talk on it.
You know what, Terry? It was 12:30. I saw the game was at 12:30, and you know what I did at 11:30? I put my head on my pillow and I went to sleep, man. Like I know what our fan base is like. We react way too much over the smaller thing. At the end of the day, it's pre-season. Like, we lost on penalties. Like you can laugh at it all you want. I've even seen Sterling fail comps when, from what I heard and from the extended highlights I watched, he had a pretty decent first half. So, look, people are starving for football. They're just starving to talk a lot of shit because the season hasn't started yet, and everyone's catting for the first Premier League game of the season. So, like, people are overreacting to things. As in, like, were some things not great? Of course, like in terms of like our attack, I still don't think it's much better yet, which is a bit of a worry. You can put some of that down to preseason fitness, but I also think Tuchel needs to. It seems like historically he's always sort of like laid the foundation in terms of defense and midfield, and in the final third he's sort of let the forwards do what they want. But with forwards who like previously
are rubbish. Say it.
I mean, your words, not mine.
You say it.
Like I said, your words, not mine. Obviously, at PSG, he had Mbappe and Neymar and Di Maria and all these superstars. Even at Dortmund, he had Dembele and Aubameyang and Royce and Pulisic and all these other players. So, whilst our forwards aren't particularly great, I'm perfectly aware. I think maybe he does need to coach attacking patterns and combination play between them to get them creating chances, which I've really said he should have been doing last season. This whole like, okay, I'll do the foundation, then you guys sort of finish the job. It hasn't really proven to be effective. So unless you get another attacker in who is like is smart, is direct, incisive, a dribbler, and all that stuff, then with what we've got, I think he's definitely got to coach better patterns. But like, at the end of the day, it's pre-seasons. Like we're getting up to fitness. So like, whilst it's a bit annoying to see that you lost to a team from America, which okay. But like it's pre-season, so I'm not really reading too much into it.
You know the thing is, right, maybe you feel this way. Chelsea seem to be going into this season quite underprepared. Now, I'm not 100% surprised because you got a new owner, and then on top of that, it was compounded with obviously Saka, Marina, and Petr Cech, or them moving on, whatever you want to put it at. And I just feel, of course, come the end of the transfer window, you may well sign all the players you need. You might get, Kimpembe and Kounde and Memphis Depay, maybe you need a forward. I don't know.
God forbid.
But I feel as it stands, because yes, I think there's a good argument to say Koulibaly is better than Rudiger. Rudiger's a very good centre back free tax as well. You have to put that into context with Rudiger. But you needed better centre backs when you had Rudiger. So replacing Rudiger with Koulibaly doesn't really change much. Because Rudiger was so good in that back three. So you need a Rudiger and another centre back. And if Aspie goes, obviously Christian's already going, maybe you need another one because I don't know who's the other centre back you got there. There's Malang Sarr. You've got the young boy.
Paqueta.
Well, he's supposed to be going to Barca.
Yeah, he's going to go Barca.
He's got Levi Colwell.
So yeah, but so these young players who maybe if you have a Kounde and a Koulibaly, you can carry a young player next to them if you still play the free. The midfield, a lot of Chelsea fans still complain about it. And your attack, Sterling walks into it and he's the only. Let's be honest. Sterling's your only good Premier League attacker. Like you can say Havertz is talented, but he hasn't done nothing in the Premier League yet to say he's a good
I agree.
Ziyech,
like Sterling's definitely our best attacker.
He ain't done nothing. Werner, he's terrible. Like I think Chelsea are going into this season, which is starting very, very soon, very underprepared. And
wait, Neeks, can I just ask you then? Do you feel that Arsenal have a better chance of finishing in the top 4 than Chelsea after what you just said? All of what you just said.
No, because I think in the previous discussion we're having, I think the role of the manager was being underplayed, and I think.
There are a lot of things.
Sorry, guys. There's some breaking news I've got to go to here. Some stuff emerging about Jules Kounde, Chelsea, Barcelona. So it's now been reported that Jules Kounde has turned up to Sevilla's training camp when he wasn't expected to, and it's believed Barcelona have asked him to stay with the camp in Portugal. He has listened to Barcelona and stayed with Sevilla for now. Chelsea are reportedly not happy about this decision, but the Barca press are now suggesting that this is a significant gesture from the player, that he is going to give Barcelona the time to put together an adequate bid to be able to take Jules Kounde away from Chelsea, who have, by all accounts, agreed verbally the base fee. So a done deal around the fee has been done. It's just not formalized because the player's not ready to make a decision yet. But that's coming from Gerard Romero. That legitimately...
Don't trust that guy, man.
Well, again...
Romero's a waffler, man. Every day things are happening.
Hang on. This is what I mean. George, do you want to hear what I mean now? He's the same guy that comes out and says, De Jong don't want Man United, and everyone goes, I don't want you. So are we taking him seriously or are we not?
I'm sorry, I'm not listening to someone who said things are happening every 2 minutes, man. When
things are always happening.
Laporta could have just started. He could have just gone to do a shit or something like.
Let's say
it's hard to take.
Dry your eyes, mate.
I don't need to dry my eyes, man. Like, if he comes, cool. If he doesn't, cool.
But listen,
no, wait, I just want to know how it feels to be second choice in so many players. Like Chelsea, every player.
So of course,
and Chelsea aren't like no player has sat and said, "Oh, Chelsea's my team. Like I want to go to Chelsea." Or like you guys have
not do that. Did Koulibaly not do that?
No one else wanted Sterling. No one else wanted Koulibaly.
Sugar Daddy's gone.
You went in for other players like Rafinha, like Jesus, like Justin, like Kounde, and you're having all these problems.
Dembele took away.
Sugar Daddy's gone. Listen, as I said,
you stopped answering your calls for about 3 weeks, so we could wait for Barcelona to finally.
As I've said before in my previous, was talking about Arsenal, right? Chelsea, I believe that they're going to have a huge bellyache this season. I don't trust the manager. There has been so many opportunities for Tuchel to prove that he is that guy. Now we know he can coach a defense, but there were times where that defense was quite leaky last season. And look, just don't shoot the messenger. Just because I'm talking about Chelsea, you don't need to keep referring back to Arsenal every single time because we're talking about Chelsea right now. At the end of the day, your attack is bleak at best, and you're just going off names. That's all you're doing. You're going to keep saying Havertz. You're going to keep saying, hold on, let me land. Let me land.
I find it really funny.
Let me land. Your attack is bleak. Don't shoot the messenger, but it's just here to tell. I'm just here to
Arsenal, bro. I'm just saying it's just funny how it scored the third most goals.
Okay,
but right. Once again,
hold on. Let me land.
You agree that it's bleak?
Neeks, let me land. Neeks, let me get him. Let me get him. Hold on. So as I said, we spoke about Havertz. He's been here 3 seasons, and the jury's still out for him. You know that you're trying to get rid of Ziyech. Sterling is very, very good, but he only works with a striker. Well, to the level that you're going to expect, I think he's going to need a striker to perform to that high level. We also know that he needs a lot of service because Sterling isn't a kind of player, in my opinion, who creates his own goals all the time. He needs that service. He needs those balls over the top. And who is going to do that in the midfield? Because you've got Jorginho, you've got Kante, and you've got Kovacic, but who's going to consistently do that for you? Now, when we go again to your defense, for me,
Conor Gallagher.
for me, you have got good names, but they all need to gel. And you can't have it both ways. You can't say that one team sometimes they don't need time to gel, and one team we can't talk about Man United, we can't talk about Tottenham when they're buying 5 players and they're not going to struggle, because every team's going to struggle if you're buying them out of players and you're rebuilding a whole defense. So now when we come down to it, we go back to Chelsea. You brought Koulibaly in, and yes, I believe he's a good defender. He's not better than Rudiger, and I can't believe I'm saying that, but he's actually
definitely is better.
He's not. Hold on. He's not better than Rudiger. You then lost Christensen. You've also possibly lost Aspilicueta. So if you don't get Kounde, then you're going to your second and third choice options, who may actually turn out to be better. Because for me, I'm not even that hyped on Kounde either. But my point, what I'm trying to say to you is, as Neek said, you coming in undercooked right now, and you haven't got the easiest Premier League start. So for me, I just look at all of this encompassing. I'm saying I don't trust Chelsea this season. And as I said, the first season, you scraped top 4. Well done. The second season,
Frank Lampard, by the way, our points per game would have had our second.
Hold on. But when Tuchel came in, he started winning games, and then he started to lose games. Remember, he got packed in the last game of the season.
Okay, just remember that our points per game would have got a second. So
hold on. You then lost to Aston Villa the last game of the season.
Okay, so and our points per game put a second.
Yeah, okay. Last season you lost quite a few games again as well last season, and you didn't have the
Arsenal fans talking about losing games when you lost the third.
Okay, but you can't shoot the messenger. I'm talking about Chelsea right now, so don't worry about Arsenal. I'm talking about your club, because as I said, you
could at least have drawn games, bro. Like we only like
listen.
I just want to them very quickly. I know you don't believe Joe Romero, but breaking from Ben Jacobs, Jules Kounde has U-turned and will now travel to Sevilla. With Sevilla to Portugal for pre-season. Barca feel this will buy them time to table a
Why are you crying, man?
No formal offer yet, whereas Chelsea have got a verbal agreement on the fee. So it's now confirmed by Ben Jacobs that they expected him not to return and kind of push through for this move, but Jules Kounde is waiting for Barca to put in a formal offer. A U-turn has happened on that deal. Let's go to some of these super chats that have come through, people.
Get some crying emojis in the chat, man. Put some crying emojis, please, guys. I've crying emojis, man. Please.
This here says this guy's having. Okay, sorry, I've already had that one there. Don't worry about Arsenal. Talk about delusion. Neeks predicted United to finish 4th in February with form. Zane here.
I definitely predicted it when Ranier came in. I don't know about February.
Yeah. Arsenal fan rolling out Chelsea players transfer fees. I thought it was an FFP contest. Spurs and Arsenal will be good, but Liverpool will be that contest.
Win that contest.
We'll win that contest. Sorry. For F's sakes, fake Lee Gunner talking like a gal, aka or Arsenal fans, pie in the sky.
Sorry, my name is actually Lee. So
delusional stuff. Ironically, Lee Gunner's surname is actually Gunner. People think he's made that up as well. People don't rate Arteta, but rate Tuchel. Since Tuchel joined Chelsea 26th of January 2020, Arteta and Tuchel have won the same amount of Premier League games, plus Tuchel has a much better squad. But but Tuchel has got to 3 domestic cup finals and won the Champions League. So that's why he's rated more, to be honest. Like, again, it's a good stat to have. But that's what you're always going to get rated more for doing that and then winning the Champions League. Because I'm pretty sure if it was the other way around and Tuchel had won nothing and Arteta in the last 18 months had won the Champions League, they'd rate the other. But thank you for the super chat. Emmanuel, thank you for becoming an official Football Terrace member. Koulibaly going to Barcelona. Hard luck, Chelsea fans. And Rafinha scored 2 goals and got 2 assists for Barca last night.
I don't even think Rafinha. I'm pretty sure Rafinha scored once as well. So, like,
I'm just reading these out. Spurs played only 8 games more than Arsenal last season. These 2 match a week is quite overstated, to be honest. You don't apply context to your argument.
Yeah, Rafinha scored once, so nice job.
Okay.
Darwin Nunes has got a penalty. Darwin Nunes could get his first goal in pre-season.
Hang on, he's taking his penalty now.
He's taking it.
Sky it.
Go on.
Oh my god, the keeper nearly saved it. Oh my Christ. Oh my Christ.
How's he celebrate? I bet he's celebrating like he just won the World Cup, isn't he?
Oh, I weren't looking. I was too scared to miss it. Jesus Christ.
A Chelsea fan in for a rude awakening with Koulibaly is what's been said here.
No chance.
Romero has been spot on so far this window. Well, he said Man United, De Jong, 95% done. I hope that turns out.
He said Barca agreed a deal for Bernardo Silva. He's a waffler, man.
You know it's not true.
Sorry. Hang on. Arsenal fan, hello. Chelsea fan. What's your disability? Erectile dysfunction. Arsenal fan, FA Cup, Chelsea, Champions League.
What's going on here?
Times 2, defo a dysfunctional lad. I think he's basically trying to say that Kounde Lee can't get a hard on. I don't know. I don't know what else he's saying. I think that's what he's saying.
If you want my missus' number, you can ask her, bro.
Listen.
DM me, brother.
Thank you. Koulibaly has been below average for the last 2 seasons, is what KC says. There's a super chat that came in earlier that I wanted to read out to you guys that I missed, but I want to read it out. This comes from Nav, who says one thing. Sorry, I've got to find it. I've lost it again because I'm terrible. He says here, out of all the top 6 Premier League teams, who is best placed in the transfer league in terms of tiers? So, like, who's had the best transfer window so far this season?
I think I'm going to say Man City. Man, clearly they've upgraded in the 2 players that they lost, and they just won the league. And I feel like the 2 players that they've got rid of were very good, and I feel like they've got even better players. Now, some people might say they got Alvarez. The main 2. They got Alvarez and Haaland. Now, some people might say that it's harsh. It's harsh because of Sterling. He's been there 7 years. He's got the most goals that ever scored for under Pep. But for me, I love Sterling because not only as a footballer, but he also is like a Jamaica international, and that obviously means a lot to me. And I like him as a Londoner as well, and I respect him. But as a footballer, I don't rate him as highly as others, and I feel like Alvarez can bring something different to the table, bringing along obviously the likes of Haaland. I just kind of look at those as a upgrade. So for me, I'm gonna say, unfortunately, Man City. I will also give respect to Spurs only because as I said, I've kept saying it. I don't feel like those players move the needle, but I feel like they'll fit the system that Conte wants. So they may not be exceptional players. They may not be these world beaters, but
we've done the business we've needed to.
You've done the needs that you.
Yeah, I think if there's any club out there that's gone out there and done the business nice and early, it's Tottenham. Tottenham's the only team that's gone out there, got the targets they wanted. I don't think there's any target right now, barring, I can't even think of one who we haven't.
You need a left centre back. You need a left centre back. You need a creative midfielder.
Only the Bastoni and Gvardiol are the only targets that we've missed out on. But I'm more than happy to wait until next season if that means getting the better left centre back. Well, there's no point signing someone just to cover for this year, and that's why we've got Longley on loan to be that player to cover for this season. The creative midfielder coming, and once we get that, the creative midfielder, we're gonna have a 9 out of 10 window. And Eriksen, I've wanted to comment on this Eriksen stuff for a while. Look, Terry sent it into the chat earlier. And it's very clear that Tottenham rejected Eriksen. Eriksen came to us, and as I said, there were certain terms that he wanted. I think he wanted some big wages, probably 200k plus, and he wanted some bonuses and sort of guarantees. We couldn't offer him that because, I mean, for one, we got Conte, and he played under Conte before, and Conte liked him, but he wasn't a massive fan of him. He didn't fit into the system that well, and he had to sort of take his time to integrate him into the team. So Eriksen doesn't come into Tottenham and start instantly. I think at Man United, he's got a better opportunity to start and a better opportunity for football, and you guys are going to pay him more money. So it's not that Eriksen rejected us. We rejected the opportunity to sign him because his terms didn't match up with what we wanted.
He offered him a contract and he turned it down.
I personally think Spurs have had a better window than City because, firstly, people act like Cucurella's a done deal. Apparently, they're quite a bit of way off evaluation. So we don't know if that's
20 million.
20 million is a lot of money to be.
Ain't it funny, that deal's dragged out for 2 months and no one's commenting about how disgusting it is that a club takes 2 months to get a deal done.
But but what you will say again, like with Man City, this is the first time where they've probably taken that long. Firstly, and secondly, the thing about Man City is
that's not true.
Yeah, no, hold on. But even if they don't get their first signing,
they chased Harry Kane the whole of last summer.
Yeah, no, but what I'm saying, even if they don't get their first signing, they don't get them and they still win. Or secondly, they get a backup or they get someone else quickly straight away and they still win. So we've seen the likes of Fred, we've seen the links with Ronaldo, we've seen the links with who was the other player that was going to go to Man United? Harry Maguire, and they always get another player and they keep winning. So yes, that can be put towards them, but Man City is such a well-run club that it kind of doesn't matter, because when we talk about managers, their manager, he can fill gaps.
I understand that they buy the right players still, and they don't panic. That isn't my argument. My argument is when people cry over the length of time transfers take. Man United don't take longer on average than anybody else. Chelsea don't, Arsenal don't. They're all about the same. It's who you buy that's actually the issue here. Like we've seen it. It's consistent. You know, they look how late in the window they signed Jack Grealish last year. As an example, I swear Liverpool were negotiating with like Thiago Silva for about 6 weeks over £25 million to get it in installments. Like the player was right, but this notion that Arsenal can take too long to get deals done, I just think it's a fallacy. I just think it's kind of twisted and messed up.
It just depends on the player, his agent, the selling club. Like,
yeah, I think on the Eriksen thing that you mentioned, George, we spoke about this about 3 weeks ago. It's like, what is the rejection? Eriksen says, Spurs say this is what we're willing to offer. There's a counter offer from Eriksen saying, no, I want this length of contract and this much money. And then Spurs say no. It's all in the eye of the beholder around who wants the. You know, it's like Yuri Tillman. It's like not Yuri Tillman. It's like with Uri and Timber. It was like, oh, he rejected Man United. Well, no, United didn't guarantee him a first team place, so he said no. But yet we didn't give him what he wanted. It all depends on what way round you want to spin it. Of course, I'm going to push the notion that the one thing I would say is what Ornstein has kind of confirmed, and it's only one source, but a few others have said it. Spurs were interested. What I didn't like is how the Spurs media tried to push this. Oh, we were never even looking at him. That's the bit that annoyed me, because that you were. Conte said that Eriksen is finished, and that is a fact. Okay. Tottenham have moved on to bigger things, unlike Eriksen downgrading to the Europa League. He's got KDB. But just funny,
KDB, man.
I mean, that's coming from a City fan. You've never even won that, bro. Do you know what I mean? Like you can't be slagging off competitions that your club's never even touched, brother. But there we go. People will, though, won't they? Arsenal fan here. Don't agree with this dude, is what Jonah says. That's why I like Lee, though, because he's not towing the party line.
Listen, if you wanna disagree with me, you can follow me on my YouTube page. It's in the description below, and we can chop it up, man. Listen, chop it up all you like, mate.
Blaze here says this guy keeps laughing at Chelsea's attack, forgetting that Mount had a better GA than Saka and Smith Rowe, who are going to bang next season. There's a Liverpool one here though that says, "Tell the Liverpool fan to stop picking scabs and eating it."
Huh?
I don't know. I mean, in fairness, I know you've been watching Liverpool, but have you actually been on this show, Tom? Because you've not really chimed in.
He's too busy watching Nunes.
My striker's got 2, so I'm on cloud.
He's scored 2 goals now. I've got on the boy.
Goal as well.
All of a sudden, pre-season counts now. Before it didn't count when you were slandering your fans were slandering Man United and Arsenal, but now all of a sudden
it didn't count. Remember, it counts now. It didn't count. Remember, it counts now.
It counts when Chelsea loses.
It's pre-season though. It's pre-season by some Man United fans and some Arsenal fans being overplayed and overstated though.
Look, they haven't won anything major in years.
I said this yesterday, right? I feel like it's a cop-out to say that the preseason doesn't count. Now, look, I was talking about it on AFTV yesterday, and I said, look, no, it's not important if you win or lose. But for me, I feel like it's a greater deal than what people make it out to be. And the reason why is because you start winning games. Now, some people will say, oh, if you lose against a team that's in the MLS, it doesn't really matter. It's about fitness. But for me, it's about getting those wins ready. It's about getting your mindset ready to say, do you know what? I'm getting acclimatized to win. And then you take that into the season. We know what momentum is. In sport, momentum is a huge thing.
When we won the title in 19... I can only go off my club because I don't care about every other club's pre-season. In 1920, before we went on and won 27 out of our opening 28 games, we got battered 5-0 by Mainz, got battered by Dortmund, Napoli, and drew with Blackpool and we didn't win a single pre-season game, and then went on to win 27 and 28. Pre-season results are irrelevant. I don't care. It's about perform. That's all you have to perform.
Okay, yeah, but you do want to see. You still want to start to see certain things that you're going to take into the season. So let's say, for example, Nunes didn't see. You would start to worry. You wouldn't be sitting here on the first game. And hold on, let me land. You wouldn't be sitting because you got Fulham away at the first game of the season. You wouldn't be sitting there feeling as confident as you possibly feel now, or a little bit more, because you scored 2 goals, one which is a penalty, and apparently one which is a quite well taken goal. So yes, I understand what you're saying, that all of a sudden preseason doesn't count for some teams. But for me, I just look at it and I'm saying it's about getting those W's in the winning column. Even if it's preseason, you start to feel better in yourself. You start to acclimatize with the players on your team. And as a striker, for example, you want to see the goal. You want to see the goal nestling. Sorry, you want to see that ball going into the net. You want to see, as a midfielder, you want to see those assists. You want to start to see things, patterns of play. So for me, I feel like it's not as big as people make it out to be.
So,
I'll agree with you, but I feel like it is understated.
So based on that, Man United have been pretty much flawless and brilliant. How are you writing us off?
In terms of for the season?
Yeah, because your season, you think what you're doing setting up for the season, but United have been really good, but you're kind of just literally saying we'd be lucky to come 9th.
Yeah, and as I said to you, like for me, listen, I've given Man United the praise that they needed. I've said that Erik ten Hag might do well. I've said all of this stuff, maybe not in this stream, but I've said previously. I've said all of these things. But what I am trying to say to you is, and it's not me even backtracking. I genuinely have said all of this before. I just think when it comes to the season, there will be you'll start to see that you have so many deficiencies in your team. And I've said it. For me, I feel like you've got so many things that need to go well for you. You need your manager to play well. There's things with De Gea's kicking that needs to go well. Your right back's quite poor, or the selection of right backs. You've got the situation with Maguire, that's another thing. Your left back, we don't know what's going on with there. You then got your midfield as being such a big hole. You've got the thing carrying over you, Cristiano Ronaldo. We've got the inconsistencies of Rashford and Martial. We don't know what's going on with the likes of Bruno. So you've got like 10, I would say, quite big things, and you need all of those to work for you to get into a position where you're going to be challenged.
And I understand that, but all
that.
So
right now,
I hear that, but listen, I think preseason has an element of importance. But the point is, all that's going on actually now as we speak, and the performances have been good. But that was just goes to show that either those things aren't. Like those things are either going to impact performances. If preseason performances are a prelude to what's going to come.
No. That's not what I said. I didn't say that. So
prelude. Well, you essentially stated that like gets you in the winning frame of mind, the winning mentality. That's preluding. If you're winning now, that means that you've got more chance of winning going forward.
No. It gives you a better. I believe it possibly gives you a minute chance, a better chance.
So it gives you a better chance of winning, moving
feeling
forward.
positive, feeling better about things. Hold on. Let me land.
The beginning, you said that like it's much bigger than people make it out to be. Now you're saying it gives you a minute chance of being better.
Yes. So I feel like I'm being fair enough to say that there's on both sides of the fence. Yes, that it is bigger than what people make it out, because people make it out that it's just about fitness. But I don't think it's just about fitness. I think there's a bit of both. You do need to start to get patterns of play, which you'll see with Man United, and I've given them praise, and I've said they look better. We've seen that they've been coaching. We've seen that Erik ten Hag's been on the pitch and the coaching have been swearing at Zidane about today. We've seen what he did to the fish guy. We've seen what he's done to De Gea. So we've seen that improvement. But what I am saying is, it just makes it makes you feel, and it makes the team a lot better in preseason. But when you get to the Premier League, it's a totally different animal. So that's why everyone keeps bantering us and Man United.
I get that. I want to move on to some of these super chats before we end. Some more news about Kounde. Another Spanish reporter has said that Jules Kounde wants to play for Barca and has directed his agents to slow down conversations with Chelsea in order to wait for Barcelona. So it's another one that's come out that's like that, but just putting it out there. Some super chats here. First one says, no team is going to go full blast in I'm getting an echo from somebody at the minute. Full blast. I don't know who I'm getting it from. I'm just going to mute everybody for a second. Sorry. No team's going to go full blast. That's stupid. You're looking for an injury in your team. Give 50-50 to push for preseason, is what Nav says. Tottenham will win the Champions League, is what one of our members, Umar, says. George, I'd love that. Imagine winning it before Arsenal, George. How would that feel to win it before Arsenal?
It's going to happen.
They already had the chance. Don't forget that. Will it come twice? I don't know.
Tottenham won the Audi Cup a couple of years ago. There we beat Juve, Bayern, and Real Madrid, and we finished 7th that season, is what Tom's got to say. Arsenal fan talking about winning. Lol, pie in the sky.
Thank you for the super chat, brother.
This one here says, Lee, did you apologize to Tobes after the North London derby?
I'll never apologize to Tobes. But big up Tobes, though. He's my guy, man.
There we go. Listen, viewers, I appreciate everyone that's tuned into the show today. Smash the like button before you leave. Tom, Lee, Roy, George, and of course, man like Neeks. Thank you all for coming on. Really appreciate it. We had another super chat that came through. It says, an Arsenal fan hear this. Arsenal fan is all over the place. I don't like when our fan base talk like this. It makes us look bad. I don't think it makes it look bad. It's just Lee's opinion. He's I've enjoyed having Lee on tonight. Great debut.
It's good to be controversial, man. It's good to be controversial.
Great debut. Listen, everyone who's tuned in, thank you. Take care. Goodbye. God bless. Back tomorrow with more content.